Marvel always makes the debut of its big villains epic and terrifying. And obviously, to create fear, a few heroes have to be sacrificed. That's the only way fans will understand that this supervillain isn't just some weakling, but a serious threat. Even when Thanos arrived, he directly killed several heroes, not just with the snap, but directly, including Heimdall, Loki, and Vision, among others. And when RDJ's Doom arrives, who is going to be even bigger than Thanos, in fact? The biggest supervillain in MCU history. His arrival will only feel impactful if he takes down one or two heroes immediately. So, which heroes have the highest chances of being defeated and directly killed by RDJ's Doom? Hawkeye first up is Hawkeye, the guy who always takes the fall. Hawkeye is like the Aquaman of the Avengers. Whenever there's trouble, people call for Spider-Man or Thor, but no one ever says, "Hawkeye, save me." Among the original 6 Avengers, 2 have already died, 1 has retired, and the remaining 3 are Thor, Bruce, and Hawkeye. Since MCU has already introduced a new Archer, Kate Bishop, and Marvel is actively pushing her forward, it makes sense that another original Avenger will be killed by Doom. Thor still has an important role, and Bruce's redemption arc is pending, so the one left is Hawkeye. He has nothing much left in his story, so Marvel might let Doom take him out to make his entry into the MCU even more terrifying. Plus, Hawkeye's death could push Kate Bishop to assemble the Young Avengers and fight against Doom. Currently, there's no truly experienced and mature hero to protect Earth 616 from Doom. Strange is in the dark dimension. Thor is busy paying his daughter's tuition fees, and Hulk, well, he isn't really a match for Doom. Hawkeye never really liked RDJ's Tony Stark, even when he was a hero. He was mostly against him, especially during Civil War, where he was completely on the opposing side. Stay away from this guy, he stabs you in the back. So, when he sees Tony's face wreaking havoc on Earth, his reaction won't be hard to predict. Hawkeye might die fighting Doom like a true hero, which would be quite emotional, and that would force the Avengers to reunite. War Machine, Rhodey. Recently, there's been no update on Armor Wars, so it's safe to assume the project is almost dead. Since Rhodey won't be getting a solo movie or show, Marvel could let him die at the hands of his best friend's face, Doom. Honestly, this would be the perfect way to conclude Rhodey's story. He has always stood by Tony, fought with him, and supported him during tough times. And there are rumors that Doomsday might feature the return of Pepper, Happy, and Rhodey. So if that happens, Rhodey could get a powerful emotional send-off, being killed by a villain wearing his best friend's face. Wong's death might seem unlikely, but it's entirely possible. Currently, Wong is the Sorcerer Supreme, even though technically that title should belong to Doctor Strange. Strange himself doesn't mind this, and he even showed Wong some respect for it in Multiverse of Madness. But if the current Sorcerer Supreme is killed in Doomsday, then Strange would automatically be promoted back to that position. Benedict Cumberbatch himself has hinted that his role in Secret Wars will be even bigger, possibly as central as Tony's was in Endgame. Another reason for Wong's death is that Marvel needs to show that Doom isn't just a genius in science, but is also extremely powerful in magic. To demonstrate Doom's magical strength, he needs to fight someone like Wong. Since Strange is currently off-world, if Doom kills Wong, it will prove that he is even more powerful than the Sorcerer Supreme, making him the biggest threat Earth-16 has ever faced. Shuri, Black Panther. Recently, there was a report from insider Daniel RPK stating that Marvel is planning to recast Black Panther. Since Black Panther 3 is already confirmed and Denzel Washington is rumored to play the villain, this report makes even more sense. In Wakanda Forever, Shuri's character was handled so poorly that it ruined the entire movie, despite Namor being an amazing villain. Shuri simply isn't capable of filling Black Panther's shoes. It would take a solid male actor like Chadwick Boseman to properly play Black Panther. That's why I believe Marvel will bring in a new Black Panther only after Shuri dies. And for that reason, I am adding her name to Doom's hit list. In fact, Doom killing Shuri could lead to an alternate version of T'Challa arriving in Earth 616 to take over Wakanda. Even in the comics, Doctor Doom has attacked Wakanda multiple times. So the rivalry between Black Panther and Doom is already well established. Final thought. If Doom truly eliminates these heroes, it will establish him as a terrifying villain, much worse than Thanos. His arrival would mark a new era of fear and destruction in the MCU. And if all of this happens, the phrase, "It's not your T'Challa, it's a new T'Challa," will become a reality. The next one could be the person who built the Avengers from scratch. Fury is also considered the official leader of the Avengers on paper. But given how his last Marvel projects, The Marvels and Secret Invasion, flopped, it can be said that if Nick Fury does return in a movie like Doomsday, it won't be for long. Fury and Stark have always had a very different kind of bonding, so the best way to conclude Fury's journey in the MCU would be to have him killed by someone who looks like Stark. This would make his death highly emotional, remove him from the equation, and most importantly, his death could once again bring our heroes together. Now, the next one is really interesting. Wade Wilson, aka Deadpool. Deadpool's name is on this list for just one reason, and you know what I mean. Thor is crying. Let's not get ahead of ourselves. If that happens in the distant future, why is Thor crying? Seeing Thor holding Deadpool in his arms and crying, and looking at how brutally wounded Deadpool is, it is clear that he is on the verge of death. He is about to die. And if you are wondering how Deadpool can die since his movies are still coming, then yes, he will die, but only for a short time. After a little while, he will heal and be back in action. So here, Marvel can hit two birds with one stone. Deadpool's temporary death will increase Doom's fear factor, and Deadpool won't actually die permanently. He will return. And even in the movie, when Deadpool asks Paradox, "What happened to me? Why is Thor crying?" Paradox's exact words were, "This is happening in the distant future," meaning this event will take place a long time from now. This almost confirms that Deadpool will be killed by Doom, temporarily, but definitely. Flame on, Johnny Storm. Not this one, but the new one, who will debut in Fantastic Four First Steps. Joseph Quinn is playing the role of the Human Torch. In the 2015 Secret Wars comic storyline, Johnny Storm was also killed. And if the entire Fantastic Four team survives Secret Wars without losing even a single member, it would be completely illogical. Because while the Avengers and other heroes come later, the Fantastic Four have always been Doom's blood enemies. We all know that Fantastic Four and Victor Von Doom are old arch-nemeses. So Johnny Storm's death at Doom's hands is almost inevitable, whether you look at it from the comics perspective or the MCU's. Talking about Spidey, yes, we all know that Peter Parker dying in Doomsday is impossible because Spider-Man 4 is coming after Doomsday. Plus, in Secret Wars, Peter is supposed to lead the Avengers alongside Doctor Strange. Still, while Peter won't die, he could definitely be defeated. In fact, it's possible that in Doomsday, Doom will nearly kill Peter, leave him for dead, and walk away. Exactly at this point, I had mentioned earlier that MCU's Venom will bond with Peter and save his life. This will not only give Peter his symbiote suit before Secret Wars, but also, due to the creation of Codex in the MCU, the arrival of Null will also be confirmed. However, most likely Null will appear only after Secret Wars in the Mutant Saga, because it's impossible for Marvel to fit two such massive, high-potential villains into the same saga. So, yeah, I personally think Peter will get his symbiote only after getting beaten by Doom. Now, the last one is Thor. If you remember, in Quantumania, Kang said he had already killed a variant of Thor. And Doom could actually showcase this act on the big screen right before our eyes. As I mentioned at the beginning, out of the original 6 Avengers, only 3 remain. We have already discussed Hawkeye, but Thor's chances of dying seem high to me. Because look, after Secret Wars, the MCU is going to reboot. Captain America has already retired. Tony Stark has been killed. So it wouldn't make sense for Hawkeye or Thor to remain after the reboot. And let's be honest, Thor, Love and Thunder was a disaster. It crossed all limits of stupidity. The post-credit scene introduced Hercules, but there hasn't been any solid update on Thor 5 yet. Given that Marvel has been canceling movies even after announcing them, it wouldn't be surprising if Thor 5, which hasn't even been announced yet, gets shelved. I think Love and Thunder was an indication that Thor has been milked enough, and it's time for him to retire from Marvel at a meaningful point, just like Captain America did. So, guys, that was all.